Today, we are going to explore some of the characters that live inside your head, what they're trying to do, and why they're not always working so well for you. So today, we've got 5. There's plenty more to explore, but these are 5 big ones that really get to people, and I wonder which one is your main go-to. Let's explore and find out. The characters that we're going to look at in this video are the sleepwalker, the pleaser, Captain Denial, the runner, the repeater. These characters represent the way your brain works when you are at a fear state, in a highly emotional state, and or a change, a state of change that you're not wanting to have happen. That's when these guys show up, and they're the characters that dictate how you react to these situations. So they're important because they're happening to you whether you like it or not. And if you can start to understand which ones are showing up when, you can start to actually make some change. Instead of feeling like you're living the same life, you can take steps to change the outcomes. Okay, so the first one we explore is the sleepwalker. This one I experienced a fair bit in my teenage years. I was living life, was functioning, but everything felt dull and lifeless. It was like walking through a fog of grey. The world was happening, I could see what was happening, but I could never really feel very much of what was happening. And as such, I never really lived with a depth that is possible for most people who aren't being controlled by this particular character. So in effect, what this character is doing is it's numbing your emotions, it's numbing your response to the stimuli of the world. And it's doing that to keep you safe. So there's something out there that's probably about to overwhelm you, or at least your mind feels that. And so it kicks into a state where it basically unplugs part of you from your emotional set to keep you safe. Instead of having these heightened emotions going up and down and everywhere, it pulls one of the plugs, and so the sound waves, they're quite small. They're more manageable. They're more safe. It doesn't necessarily make life better though, but it does make it safer for your brain at the time. And so in effect, what's happening is you're existing and you're not deeply living. And this can function for a while, but after a certain point, you realise that you're not seeing the world the way everybody else sees it. You're not seeing it as this rich, dynamic place. You're just seeing it as this very dull experience, like a crappy TV show that you don't really want to watch, but you can't be bothered turning it off. So it just sits there and plays, and you're not invested, you don't care, but it's there. It's a pretty shitty state to be in, but one that you don't need to be in. As I mentioned, what this character is really trying to do is it's pulled the plug on the strength of your emotions. And it's doing it to keep you safe. But the key part is it's also dulling down all those emotions that make you feel amazing. So it is keeping you safe. It is doing its job. It's being very fucking effective at it. But the cost is too high. The cost is simply too high for most of us. Maybe there's some of us where it works, but realistically, the cost of doing it is too high. The cost of feeling no pain is to feel no joy. I don't like that trade-off personally. I think it's bullshit. And so there became this point in my life where the pain of this semi-existence was more than the pain I was trying to save myself from. And it's at that point that I woke up. I stopped sleepwalking around the place. and I started opening my eyes to the world, opening my heart and my mind to the depth of what was out there, the painful and the joyful. So if this one resonates for you, if this one you've experienced yourself or you're currently experiencing, there's a really simple thing you can do to just start to turn around. Just want you to take 30 seconds to a minute and just sit quietly and feel something in your life that you would expect to have more feeling towards. Something where you feel like, oh, I probably should be angrier about that. I should be more joyful in that situation. I should be sadder in this situation. I want you to take one of those moments, one of those situations, and just sit with it. Just sit with it for a minute and stop analysing and just slowly feel a little bit. Even if you feel the feeling of maybe frustration that you're not feeling as much as you expect, that's a start. That there is a start point. You're kicking your responses back in to having some power, some amplitude. So instead of being that soft wave, you're starting to get a little bit more of the positive and negative flow coming through. And just by practicing that 30 seconds to a minute every day, you'll start to see more, and it will become easier and easier for you to feel more truly what's happening in the world around you, what's happening in your life, and you can start to live more deeply. Yeah, this next character has been living rent-free in my head for the better part of my life. Kicked him out recently, does come back for the occasional visit, but generally he's been kicked to the curb. And this is someone I like to call the emotional support human, or you might know them as the people pleaser. And this guy came up for me a lot because what I seek most in the world is peace and harmony. And what does a people pleaser do? Anytime there's a difficult situation, they want to mitigate it, get it calm, get it stable, get it safe. For me personally, if there was tension, it felt unsafe. So my job, my core calling was, how can we get this situation to feeling safe again? And yeah, that works. That works to a certain point. It can be very, very, very effective in the short term. There'll be tension, something can be said or done, de-escalates the tension, everything comes back to a more normal, more actionable place. A place where you can probably use more logic than emotion to deal with a situation, which is my personal idiosyncratic preference. But what happens during that process? If you're just doing it and the way you're doing it aligns with who you are, like you're doing what you would do anyway in that situation, no matter what, great. That is wonderful. You're just trying to get people to find some harmony. Great. If, on the other hand, your actions to create that peace come at the cost of your beliefs or your values, you have just cut a slice away from your self-worth. And you don't notice it. Not at first. Well, you might feel a bit funny. But over time, those little cuts against your self-worth build up. And you start to build resentment. And so when you people please on somebody else's terms, you're denying yourself agency. So you're keeping yourself safe in the moment at the cost of your freedom of expression as a person. And again, that's a value judgment that doesn't work for me. It's much more important to be authentic than it is to be safe. Okay, there's circumstances that might take that a bit further. Somebody has a gun to my head. That might change the equation if I think I can just get out of there and not have to deal with it again. But generally speaking, for most of us in our daily life, if we're talking about emotional safety, not life on the line, literally safety, then the people pleaser, when we are pulling something out of ourselves, when we're denying a part of ourselves to do it, only ever hurts ourselves in the long run. So this isn't a problem with being warm, welcoming, and fair. This is a problem about being nice. When being nice infringes upon your beliefs and your values, the people pleaser has taken over. And in those times, all you're going to do is lose. You win in the short term, you lose in the long term. And life is a long-term game. So if you've been doing this for a while, if this one really resonates for you as it does for me, and you're ready to start putting your values and beliefs first, beyond the momentary safety of an uncomfortable moment, then all I need you to do is when one of those uncomfortable moments comes up, and you know it will, it always does, don't say a thing, just sit. Just sit. You don't have to put forward your values. You simply have to sit for a moment, about a minute again, and just not respond by trying to make the situation safe. Again, your life's on the line, do what you got to do. We're talking about emotional safety here. So a situation comes up, you feel this anxiety, or however it comes up for you as this people pleasing is about to kick in. And instead of trying to solve the problem, you just sit in the problem and you don't do anything about it for a minute. Feel that uncomfortableness for a minute. Work out it hasn't killed you. It hasn't hurt you. It feels fucking uncomfortable, but it hasn't killed you and it hasn't hurt you. So you're getting your body used to feeling uncomfortable, which is the thing it's absolutely trying to avoid. This character detests being uncomfortable in a situation. So we need to teach it that it doesn't need to do that. Okay, our next character is the wonderful, the irrepressible Captain Denial. Dun dun dun! Captain Denial comes in two flavours. The flavour I'm used to is the flavour where you end up doom scrolling or procrastinating or doing anything except what you're meant to be doing. The other flavour is more reminiscent of the workaholic type person, where you get your mind trained on doing a job, feeling good, being productive. And that one's the trickier one. The one that I most often exhibit is easier to spot because you feel like shit and you know that you're not doing what you should be doing. Easy. The workaholic one is trickier because you're confusing not facing up to whatever reality you're running from with actually doing something useful and good. So you get that feeling of doing good, which is really good, really rewarding, and you don't have to deal with whatever situation good old Captain Denial is trying to keep you from. So what is actually happening is Captain Denial can sense that something's coming up, and instead of looking at it and analysing it and experiencing it, Captain Denial just puts the hat on and goes, all right, orders. We want our attention away from here. So straight away, all of your attention goes anywhere but where the problem is, where the perceived problem is. And like I said, it'll split in one of two ways, either into distraction or work, which is just a distraction that has a bit more usefulness to society. So it's far more societally acceptable to be the workaholic than it is to be the professional procrastinator. But they're effectively the same thing, just showing up in different ways. And when you're the workaholic type, you're going to feel great until you're not. You'll put so much effort into whatever project or work or career or whatever it is that you're putting all of that energy into. You're going to do so much focus into that other elements of your life are going to start crumbling around you because you're not dealing with them, you're not addressing them, you're not even seeing them most of the time. You refuse to see them, you're denying their existence. And so you get to a point where a few elements of your life might be doing really, really well, and some elements are just in the absolute toilet. They're done. They're not just falling apart, they're broken, they've fallen, they're toast. All right, they don't have to stay toast, but they're toast right now. So Captain Denial is all about trying to protect us by distracting us from what's going on, pretending it doesn't exist, and putting action and energy into something else. Whether that's doing this amazing project, cleaning the house, or doom scrolling. It all works effectively the same. What it's doing is taking you away from the problem. No matter what version you use, it's always taking you away from the problem. So if this is happening for you, if part of your world is going great, or if you know that you're a professional procrastinator, this guy is playing a part in your life. When when at least some of the other elements of your life are crumbling, we can start dealing with this situation. Like the others, we can start really small. We don't have to do these big giant jumps. We just start small. For this character, if this is the one that comes up for you, instead of doing something, what we're going to do for this one, we're going to do nothing. We are going to sit for 1 minute and do nothing. No distractions. No work. No phone. No nothing. No talking to somebody. Nothing. We're just going to sit with our thoughts for 1 minute. 0 distractions. You can close your eyes, you can try and meditate, whatever, it doesn't matter, but it's sitting with your thoughts and your emotions for 1 minute. Ideally, you want to do this if you sense that moment to dive into the work or that moment to doom scroll. That could be a bit tricky, timing wise. But even doing this little bit, sitting with your thoughts and your emotions, is going to start to train your brain that it's okay. That it's okay to feel. That it's okay to think about problems that you don't want to deal with, but it's okay to start thinking about them. That processing isn't going to hurt you. And doing that repeatedly is going to start training your nervous system that it's okay. So the ghost with the gut feeling, or the runner, this character is made of high twitch emotional response fibers. The moment it feels anything happening on the horizon, anything at all, out of there, gone like Usain Bolt, never to be seen again. Done. And it's a bloody effective strategy. If there's a problem, but you're not there to deal with it, is there really a problem? I don't know. You tell me. For most of us, when we dabble in it, the problem ceases to exist the moment we run away from it, for a while. And in so doing, we gain a sense of control and safety in our lives. We don't need to deal with it. We feel safe when we're not near it. Perfect strategy. Except if you do it regularly, you're going to find that you run away from all sorts of things all the time. And you soon have less and less spaces where you can run to. And some of these problems will come after you as well. That is also a problem. But in essence, the more you do it, the less space you have to run to. So you reach a point where that safety of not being near a problem, an emotional situation, becomes a trap. And you find yourself with limited options. And at that point, the runner really breaks down. The cool thing, though, is that the runner is all about action. It's just that a little bit similar to the captain denial, the action is misplaced. The action is taking you away from the issue instead of acting to deal with the issue. So it's just a case of let's tweak it and start to turn it around. How do we go about changing that reactive energy, that running power, into something that can help us overcome the issues that we're running from? Well, like the others, we're going to just start to train the nervous system. And with this, we could do exactly the same as for the denier, which is just sit with your feelings for a minute. Now, the advantage that the runner has over the denier is the runner always knows when shit's about to get real. They're so hyper aware that they know. So in this case, we can do it more regularly at the time when that feeling of wanting to run kicks in. And so if you're the runner type, next time you feel that itch, that kind of launch, like you're ready to go, you're ready to get out of there, you don't want a part of whatever it is, you can just sit there for a minute and not run. Then you can leave after if you want, but just sit there for a minute. Or if you're feeling extra motivated and you still want it and you can't just sit with all that energy, take a step towards the problem. Just one step. One step towards the problem. Ask a question. Show some sort of curiosity. Find one way to take a step going towards the problem. If you pull away from it again, go, cool, I'm trying. You're starting to regulate your nervous system. Again, like all the others, you're starting to regulate your nervous system to know that it's okay to go about things in a different way. And the last one of the day is, well, for me it feels like Groundhog Day, but also known as the repeater. Now this guy is probably in most of our lives. At some level or another, they turn up, he or she is just, it's like they're back again. Oh my God. And often it comes in the form of relationship stuff. Oh my God, the way that relationship ended is exactly like the last one. And the one before that, and the one before that. Why does this keep happening to me? It could be a work-related thing. Why do I keep getting passed over for the promotion? It could be a family thing. Why am I always having the same fights with everybody in my family? And like all the other strategies, there's a part of you trying to keep yourself safe. And the repeater does it by shifting blame. So it takes a situation and it pushes all the blame onto something or someone else. Doesn't take any self-responsibility. So the denial of the situation isn't denying that the situation exists. It's not denying that it was emotional. No, it's denying responsibility. Denying responsibility in particular for yourself. So whatever's been happening, yes, other people have been involved in it, but what's the one key element that's there the same every time? It's you. Hell yeah. And so until you can have experienced enough to go, shit, this does keep happening, and you can ask yourself a simple question: what am I doing that is helping this situation to happen again and again? Why am I choosing partners that do this to me? Why am I choosing to fight over XYZ? Why am I the same person that gets overlooked for a promotion again and again? Until you can start asking that question internally, you're going to keep blaming the outside world, the externalities of the world, and the problems will keep repeating because life has this amazing way of mirroring our issues to us until we see them. And then beyond that sometimes, but at least until we see them and can start dealing with them. And so the repeater is there for all of us. I would think for all of us at some level or another, we've had the repeater pop up in our brains, denying our responsibility for some part of something that's happened in our life. And until we turn that around, we are effectively denying agency to ourselves for how to deal with life. Yeah, so I kind of love the repeater. And I love it because it's about as clear a call out as possible. The other ones can be tricky. It's like why, how, what. Most of the characters that we're going to explore, they can be quite subtle in how they go about it. But the repeater keeps turning up the volume. Every time you miss that repetition, or every time you get that repetition, the noise of it goes up a little bit, and a little bit more, and a little bit more, until you cannot deny its existence. And the act of the repetition becomes so uncomfortable that you're willing to look beyond the outside world and start looking within to go, okay, how am I part of this problem? So it becomes an amazing gateway to opening you up, and a hard one to miss. All right, we might go through a lot of shit to get there, and it might be painful as hell to get there. But at some level, for most of us, it will wake us up at some point. And effectively for this one, it's really simple. When that point comes, when you feel something has repeated, when you're like, far out, I'm back here again. At that moment, ask yourself that question. How have I contributed to this moment happening? And be as absolutely ruthlessly honest with yourself as you can. Take your ego away as much as you can. Yep, other people have had impact. Other parts of life have come in. But if this is happening again and again and again and again, there's at least a tiny bit that is because of you. So that's the 5 characters that we're exploring today. Now there's a few more that we're going to go through in upcoming videos. And I'd just love to get your feedback on how they turn up for you, which one's the most common for you, because some of us might experience all of them, some might experience just 1 or 2. And some of them we don't even know we're experiencing, but they're happening inside our heads anyway. They're so covert, so subtle, that they're happening without us even noticing. And if you're curious as to which one is the most dominant for you, I've developed a little quiz. It's in the link down below. Just give it a go. It takes about 3 to 5 minutes to do the quiz, and it'll give you a bit of an insight into which of your particular characters is the most dominant one. And it'll go through and explain in detail what it is, how it works, how it functions in your nervous system, how it shows up every day. So there's a whole heap of stuff in there. There's all sorts of great ways to improve and start to change that character from being a big part of your life to being a much smaller player in your life. So go, if you're curious, do the quiz. Otherwise, drop me some info about which ones show up the most for you. I'm really curious and how they show up. I'd love to hear your stories. And other than that, have an amazing day, and I'll see you next time. Ciao.